Hey guys, I'm back again. So I just wanted to do a quick little comparison here between the Galaxy A5 and the Galaxy Alpha. Both of them very similar in terms of the build quality, and I think the A5 is a little bit cheaper at about 250, but the Alpha is still about 300. And I think these two are quite weird really, in that although they share quite a lot in common in regards to like the screen and the build quality, they have quite different internals, which I think will appeal to different types of people. We can talk about that a little bit later in the video, but in terms of the build quality, both come from the house of the new Samsung, so they both feel absolutely fantastic in the hand. I think the A5 feels a little bit lighter though than the Alpha, and obviously it is a little bit bigger, so a bit more thumb stretching will be required on the device, but I can grip most of it quite well, whereas the Alpha is much more ergonomic with one hand because it is the 4.7-inch form factor, and it does have a nice heartbeat sensor as well here for your health needs. The back of the Alpha is removable, which you can get access to the battery, which is quite a small one if we're to be honest, but it is nice that you can swap it out at the end of the day, whereas the A5 comes with a fixed back and you can only access the SIM using one of those tools, which are annoying when you lose them. And it also supports micro SDs up to 64 gigs, which is quite nice on the A5. However, you are fixed with your 32 gigs on the Alpha. So those are the main differences in regards to the build quality. Both sport very nice Super AMOLED displays, which of the 720p variety. You're going to get slightly higher pixel density of 312 ppi on the Alpha versus a slightly less one at 294 ppi on the A5, because it's a smaller display. But in general usage, the displays are actually very comparable. There's very little to separate them, I've found. They even have like the same type of brightness on both of them, and you can just see here that the screens get very bright indeed for AMOLED displays. So you can see here it's about 525-ish on the Alpha, and roughly the same type of brightness there. So I think the technology really hasn't really moved on too much since when the Alpha was released. Obviously the Alpha was released a little bit sooner, so they're kind of sticking with the same type of display technology on both of them. And you know, I'm a big fan of this particular display technology, and you're not going to suffer just because it is a 720p display on both of them. Very imperceivable with like my Galaxy S5, to be honest, with these displays. Where they do differ, however, quite substantially is obviously in terms of the processing package, with the A5 rocking a Snapdragon 410, which is paired with a 306 Adreno, and it's a 64-bit architecture with 2 gigs of RAM. And on the Alpha you are getting an Exynos processor, which I can never really remember what the actual naming is on the Exynos ones because it seems to be quite random, but looking into it a bit you can see that the processor is the Cortex A15, which is a quad-core 1.8 gigs, and another quad-core 1.3 gigs, which is called the Octa 5430. But more importantly, the Alpha has a Mali T628 chip, which is far superior when it comes to your gaming. However, the day-to-day kind of performance on both of them is about equivalent. Bear in mind I have got a custom ROM on the Alpha at the moment because I do think it gives good battery life, but even on like the stock ROM on both of them, you'll find that the general performance is virtually identical, like in terms of the day-to-day stuff, and you know, just open up here, you can see there's quite a similar performance on both of them. Hopefully there's similar performance. So we're on the home page here. Maybe the alpha is a little bit quicker, but I don't perceive it too much, to be honest. But where the alpha is much quicker and better is in terms of the gaming. So you can see here on GTA San Andreas there's a massive difference in terms of the performance, with the Adreno really struggling on anything higher than the very basic type of settings. So if we go to the display here, you can see everything's on low, whereas if you bump it up a little bit, you can see it is a major lag fest. I'm very surprised at the lack of performance on the Adreno that's paired with the 410. I thought it would be a big step up, but if we just have a look at the alpha, you can see here this is a gamer's dream, so it's very smooth. And just to show you the settings, we have it on here: visual effects high, resolution medium, draw distance, etc. Absolutely no lags. So you're going to get a much better performance when it comes to gaming on the alpha, thanks to that Mali GPU. And if that's top of your agenda, I definitely point you in the direction of the alpha. The other area where the alpha, I think, leverages a slightly stronger performance is in terms of the cameras. We have a 12 megapixel ISO camera on the alpha versus a 30 megapixel Sony sensor on the A5, which is a bit more kind of budget compared to the alphas, which is quite similar actually to the Galaxy S5's camera, only slightly less resolution obviously. But the major benefit of the alpha is that you can actually do very widescreen shots in the full 12 megapixel, whereas you can only do 8 megapixel shots on the A5 in the full 16:9 kind of widescreen mode. And that gives you a hell of a lot more kind of detail to play with on the PC with the alpha. But in terms of the actual quality in good daylight, I found them to be roughly comparable. The A5 does an excellent job nevertheless, comparing against the alpha. I think the only area where it really falls over a little bit is in terms of the low light. That's where the alpha really shines, letting in a lot more light and giving it a much more kind of smoother appearance on the picture, whereas the A5 does struggle a little bit in this aspect, common with other budget phones as well. So if you're into your stills photography, then the alpha I think is going to give you the better all-around experience. It seems to also focus a little bit faster as well, but maybe that's just me. And the video recording on both of them is very good. I did do a video test with the alpha versus the A5, but I found that the A5 actually looked a little bit better for some reason, even though the alpha obviously supports the 4K. To me the A5 just looked a little bit more clearer, and don't know what was going on there. Technically the alpha should be better in that aspect, but overall I do prefer the alpha's camera a little bit more. But one area where I do prefer the A5 is the battery life. I mean, the battery life on the A5 kills the one in the alpha, you know, you're not going to have to charge it that much compared to the Alpha. It's got a 2300 mAh in there, which only downside is that it's not removable, but it doesn't really have to be because it's paired with a very efficient processor. Whereas the Alpha comes with a 1890 mAh, which is removable. You can get some aftermarket batteries now, about 2200 mAh, which should help the situation a bit. But I think out of the box, the power hungry Exynos processor and the kind of small mAh means that you're gonna struggle to get through the day with this if you do any like gaming and things like that. Whereas the A5 can easily get you through a gaming session on the train or something. So if you're into your battery, then this is the one to go for. I think that the speakers obviously are another point which are quite different on both of them. We have a speaker on the edge here on the Alpha versus the speaker on the back with the A5, and I have done a quick test with them to see how like loud they are, and I can just quickly show you about now. Aha, so as I thought, it seems the speakers are a little bit louder here on the Alpha because they're in a better place, but the actual output is about the same. So yeah, you know, I think there's definitely some pros and cons with these two devices that you need to consider, apart from the actual build quality, which is roughly about the same. If you're looking for your gaming and your camera experience, then I'd definitely point you in the direction of the Alpha. It's still a fantastic phone in this regard. Somewhat underrated if you ask me. Compared to like the Galaxy S6 which is coming out, I still think it compares quite favourably, especially if you get like aftermarket battery in there. With the A5, if you're looking for a device which has a fantastic battery life from the outset, has a nice big Super AMOLED display which is at the perfect size, as well as the build quality which is fantastic. Oh, and it also supports the dual SIM, which is very useful, as well as the expandable storage. Then you can't really go wrong with the A5, and I definitely point you in that direction. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little comparison review, and leave a like if you did, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.